the first game of the season when they played in the Corky Kale, I was really surprised. I thought LaGrange was going to come out and be a top 5 team. The offense looked one-dimensional. They struggled passing the ball. After that, though, they've just been getting better every single week. And just seeing them at the Hall of Fame this last week, just seeing the team together, the way they just handled themselves, just a team that's having fun at the right time, getting ready to come into a big playoff situation. I think LaGrange has a chance to make a big run, and 3A is already very unpredictable. I think they have confidence, and I think it comes from the fact that they have clearly gotten better each week, and just more guys are stepping up.
Certainly agree with you. And our next headline is going to be Upson Lee. That's the King Brown. He committed to Walford yesterday as well. He's made his impact felt on the defensive side of the ball. He's really good at run stops and run fits, also in creating pressure on the quarterback. He's having an outstanding season so far for Upson Lee as they play LaGrange this upcoming week. They're 6-3, 5-2 in region play, and have that pivotal matchup coming up here in just a little bit. But I want to give him some shine. I feel like Upson Lee is not talked about enough for the season that they're having. They've been in and out of the rankings so far this year for Score ATL, but a team that we should watch for. A shout out to the King Brown, I should say.
All right, the next headline, I just thought this was such a great story. I wanted to highlight it. I encourage people to go and check it out at the Athens Herald. It is about North Oconee flag football coach, Nicole O'Mara. She took over this year. She was the only female on that staff, and she is a boy mom. She only has sons, and so she's talking about how this is an opportunity for her to really bond with young girls for the first time. They view her as a mother figure, and she's just having a really good time. So in the past, North Oconee's flag football team, it was a male coaching staff. Now they have O'Mara, who's taking over, and then she grew up raising boys, and so now she's getting to know these young girls. So I thought it was a great story. I encourage everyone to check it out. They have a big game coming up, I believe, tomorrow. They are 3-2, but a great story, and just one of the reasons flag football is such a popular growing sport.
For sure. All right, guys, our next headline, Fulton County Rivals are going to meet for the 70th time with the region championship on the line. Milton Roswell, we featured this game last year, and I wanted to bring this up, Craig, because it was on Peachtree Sports Network, and this was a game where we was like, okay, Milton struggled early on, but that game felt like that's when they kind of hit their stride, right? From that point on, they started winning games. They're beating opponents. Offense struggled early, far as earlier in the season, but since then, they've been rolling offensively. They won a state championship. What are your thoughts on the game this week?
Well, from that game, one of the things I do remember, Dylan Williams, shout out to him for Roswell. He made some incredible catches. Roswell was a senior-led team last year. Milton was still finding its identity. We knew how good Luke Nickel was at quarterback. In that game that we saw the offense really open up for the first time. Ryan G caught a touchdown. The passing game took over. Lester in the backfield. So it was the first time their offense really took off. And if you look at Milton's current run right now, where they are nationally ranked, it started in that game against their rival. This year, I think the storyline is the fact that the target's on Milton's back now. This is the first time in 70 meetings they've been ranked #1 playing against Roswell. Roswell's coming off the biggest win of their season against Gainesville last week. It's a rivalry game where even when Milton won that first ever state title, you look back at that season, not first ever, the one with Coach Clack in his first year. Roswell beat them, the only loss in the season. So I think it's a rivalry game. The pressure's going to be on. The only concern I have is Roswell's defense. It's not as up to par as they have been. Offensively, they're very explosive, but they're just going to have so much trouble stopping that Milton offense.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough, and the player I want to shout out is Trey Smith, having a phenomenal year so far for them. He's their leading rusher this year, has 700-plus yards rushing, 1,661 yards passing, and 16 touchdowns. I think he is the key in this one for them. He doesn't turn over the football, takes what the defense gives him, and then he can run it. And he also got Sinquan Smith, the Pittsburgh commit, that can do a little bit of everything as well. But the key is what you said, Craig. Can they get a stop? Can this defense get a stop against that Milton offense who can run it with T.J. Lester, who's having a great year? You also got Luke Nichols, C.J. Wiley, Ethan Barbour as well. And can't forget about Tristan Payne. So they got a lot of guys that can come at you. So can Roswell get enough stops to get it back to their offense? Will this game be a shootout? We'll see. That game kind of came a little slow last year, and then it kind of started to heat up. Will this game be a shootout?
I think it will, and another Roswell area team, BT, actually did a great job of forcing Milton to, not be one-dimensional, but they took away the run, forced him into passing situations. Wiley took over. He had a big screenplay. He broke loose, broke some tackles in the secondary. I just think it's going to depend up front for Roswell. Can they be physical? Can they find a way to get to Luke Nickel, who, I don't know, he didn't have a sack on him when we covered their game a couple weeks ago. Maybe he still hasn't. So it's pretty incredible just how good a job he's doing getting the ball out, but also the protection up front.
For sure. All right, guys, our next headline, GEC Showcase will be November 10th on a Sunday at Blessed Trinity. So if you guys are interested, make sure you fill out the form. It's on scoreatl.com. Make sure you guys fill that out. It's going to have a whole bunch of different things. They've had it a couple of weeks ago, there at BT as well. So just a good place that you can get your measurables. You know what I'm saying? You can get good coaching. Rusty Manziel will be on hand. I'm sure a Score Atlanta staff member will be on hand as well. It's just a good place to go. Go and get your exposure out there for you, and then just be able to play in this great event with exposure that you'll end up being on TV.
Yes, lots of grades will be represented, so it's not just seniors. It goes all the way down to middle school also. And I think last time we had a showcase earlier, I think right before the season started, Harrison Spencer from South Forsyth, the receiver, he came out, just won every single one-on-one, had great measurables, and then he just committed to play in our game. So guys that show up to this event will be getting invitations, but it's just going to depend on how well they perform.
And real quick, that game is on December 28th, I should say. The practice will be December 26th through the 28th. So make sure you guys, if you're interested, sign up, get the ticket. I'm sure we'll have a QR code here soon that you guys can scan, because I've getting a lot of DMs about this. We will have more details. Remember, go to scoreatl.com and get all the information there. All right, Craig, you got the next headline.
All right, so head coach Lauren Lord leads Savannah Arts to their first ever finals. This is in volleyball. It's her 10th season as head coach. The talent-laden Panthers have established themselves as one of the best teams in Georgia. And in this story, I want to highlight one player. That is Torin Higginbotham, the senior for Savannah Arts. She had 32 kills in the semifinals. That is a playoff high for every single classification. She will definitely be the player to watch. They're going to go up against a very tough Morgan County team.
For sure. All right, guys, next up we have our Georgia High School Football Daily Morning Review, starting with Phil Jones. He had a weekend preview, or 4 questions with Phil Jones, ITG Next podcast/writer. So he talked about the Wintersville Classic. And you guys don't know, we're going to talk more about that matchup later. But remember, Valdosta versus Lowndes, a major game. It's a little different. It's always prideful, but this one has a region title on the line. So that was one of the questions he asked. What would be the deciding factor in the game was another that he asked as well. And then what's the state of the Lowndes rebuild with Coach Adam Carter, who used to formerly coach for the Grayson Rams, having an outstanding job, 8-1 so far this year. All right, top scoring defenses that you guys can see here. Grayson, 9.2. Hughes, 9.4. Marist, only 3.7 per game for them. Very impressive. Calvary Day at 3A with 8.4. Carver Columbus with 5.6. And then Class A Division I, Savannah Christian 8.3. And Class A Division II, Lincoln County 8.1. Craig, I'm going to throw it to you for the weekend preview.
Okay, we got the weekend preview. I'm missing that page real quick. Go ahead and get it started.
I am as well. So we're going to go to trivia, guys. Can't seem to find the weekend preview. But we're going to go to yesterday's trivia. Dalton had 33 consecutive winning seasons from 1964-96. We had the coach on Kit Carpenter yesterday under head coach Bill Chappell, who passed away on Sunday. Dalton extended the streak through 2019 for a total of 51 seasons, the state record. What school ranks second all-time with 42 straight winning seasons? The answer, Marist. Holds the second longest streak of winning seasons in state history with 42, 1983 to 2024, with 40 of those coming under head coach Alan Chadwick. Dalton's streak of 51 seasons, 1960 to 2010, is the first all-time. 33 of those seasons came under head coach Bill Chappell, who passed away Sunday. Chappell never had a losing season in his career, nor has Chadwick. So pretty impressive numbers there. All right, let's go to today's trivia. All right, today, Toombs County, the #1 team in Class A Division I, playing Savannah Christian, #1 team in Class 3A through A private. This is the second meeting between #1 ranked teams this season. What was the first? Hint, it was the opening game for both.
Ooh, I did not know that one off the top of my head. I have to go way back to week 1.
I was thinking DC, but I know Cedar Grove was not ranked #1.
Yeah, so who did Milton open with?
Buford. That might be it. Milton and Buford. Yeah, that might be it. Milton and Buford. That makes a lot of sense. 6A and 5A that played earlier this year on TV. All right, guys, that's all we got for now. Coming up, we have the underrated and overlooked right here on Peachtree Sports Network.
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their athletic abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision. Our team brings it to life.
The Georgia Sheet Metal JETC equips apprentices with the knowledge and skills required to start a rewarding career in the sheet metal industry with programs in HVAC, industrial welding, and testing, adjusting, and balancing. Training is 100% free and allows apprentices to earn as they learn. Journeymen graduate with no student debt and have the potential to earn more than most college graduates. Visit our website to learn more about this opportunity at careersinsheetmetal.com.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
Man, you know how to do this?
Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. Electrify your career.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. I'm Najee Wilkins along with Craig Sagan. Remember that you get the show on the Atlanta News First streaming app, also on YouTube TV via the Peachtree Sports Network, and Zeem, the CBS Sports local streaming app. So make sure you watch the show there. But we're going to get to our underrated and overlooked, a different day today. But I'm going to have Craig start off some great players. We love doing this segment, highlighting the top players all across the state that doesn't get necessarily the exposure they need or deserve, but we want to do it right here on Georgia High School Sports Daily.
That's right. Number one, I'm bummed we didn't get to put him on TV against Savannah Christian, but what a season he's having. That's Blessed Trinity running back Amonte Pitts. He has been a huge contributor offensively. He scored the bulk of their touchdowns this season. He had a couple touchdowns early in that game last week against Centennial. He's having a great year, great ball carrier. He doesn't turn the ball over, and he's great in the red zone. So shout out to him. Number two on my list, Harrison quarterback Xavier Hill, the junior. What a job he's done. 350 all-purpose yards in the last win over Hillgrove, an undefeated Hillgrove team, to get them the region title. He is a true dual-threat quarterback, and he's just making great decisions under first-year head coach Salam. All right, Lambert running back Cam Bland in the last win over Denmark. He had 5 total touchdowns, 3 on the ground, and then 2 receiving. Those were actually his first 2 catches, I think, all season long. So they opened up the playbook, they trusted him, and that is a big performance. 5 total touchdowns for the senior. Next up, Perry running back DeCorian Daniels. He's only a junior, but in the most recent win against Benedictine, he scored the first touchdown on the ground, a hard run 6-yard touchdown, and then he had a 90-yard kickoff return touchdown to put them back on top. It proved to be the game-winning score. That is a great sign for him, a junior making big plays in a hostile environment at Benedictine. And then Northeast running back Nick Woodford. They had a monumental win over Dodge County this last week. The senior star running back stole the show. He had 198 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns on the ground, including a 57-yarder. He also had a 20-yard catch for a forced score, and he accounted for 200 yards of offense. Shout out to Northeast running back Nick Woodford.
For sure. All right, next up, you got Locust Grove, Amir Ellis. Want to give him a shout out. I mean, he's having a phenomenal season for the program. 9 catches, 108 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And then he also had 3 interceptions and a pick 6. It's all in one game. I mean, you talk about getting it done. That's how you do it. So shout out to Amir Ellis for what he's been doing on the gridiron this year. I know it's not probably the best year for Locust Grove, but game in, game out, he's came up big. Want to give him a major shout out. Amir Ellis, we see you, man. Keep balling out, man. Keep having that great season, man, and keep doing your thing. All right, next up, Greene County quarterback Landon Garrison. He had another major game for them. 3 touchdown passes led them to a 7-1 record. They're going to play Lincoln County this upcoming week. That's a major region game that could potentially decide who is going to win the region championship. Each of those 3 touchdown passes that Landon Garrison had, 3 of them was over 30-plus yards. So that's getting it done. He's been outstanding so far this year, man. I've really been impressed by what he's been doing. So shout out to Landon for his great performance. Next up, Fannin County running back Carson Callahan set a career high in rushing yards with 301, finished with 3 touchdowns. It was the first game in his career that he surpassed 300 yards. And every year in his career, he's just continually, steadily improved those numbers for them. Shout out to him, man. And like we said with their coach last week, man, sometimes you got to put the Jordan shrug on, you know? Just how you're going to stop Carson Callahan and Lawson Sullivan. That is a tough thing to stop. So they're that elite, they're that good, man. Fannin County is coming for it all in 2A this year. All right, Sequoia running back Will Rajecki had another marvelous performance, 221 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns in a win over Pope. On the ground, he rushed for 103 yards and 3 touchdowns. Through the air, he had 4 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown. Rajecki not just a threat in the running game, but also in the passing attack as well. Shout out to him. Another major performance. He's been great all year long for Sequoia, and they're having a phenomenal year. Next up, North Cobb Christian linebacker Spears Martin doesn't get a lot of love, but had 8 solo tackles and 2 tackles for a loss in a win over Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe. Martin recorded 8 tackles in 3 consecutive games so far this year. He's the leading tackler for the Eagles this season with 61. He also has 14 tackles for a loss, 3 quarterback hurries, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 pass deflections. Doing it all for the Eagles this year. They have another great year. Didn't win the region championship because they lost to Rockmart, but we know what they got in Turner Davis, BDG Guerrera, Ray Dixon, superstar quarterback Teddy Gerard, and much, much more.
Yep, and I wanted to talk about Harrison's Xavier Hill real quick. We had Alex Benson on last week. Xavier actually won Born to Compete Player of the Week last week out of the entire state for that performance against Hillgrove. I just think it's huge for him. The spotlight's grown all season long as Harrison has had big wins over McKeecher, and that broke a long losing streak to them. The Hillgrove win, and if you look every single time, the decision-making and then what Coach Salam said about Xavier Hill is just what an exceptional young guy is, a leader on that team. And when you have a junior quarterback that is making plays with his legs, getting all his teammates involved, answering opponents' touchdowns, it's such a exciting thing for the seniors on that team and just everyone involved to see what he's been able to do with that quarterback position, a Harrison program that has had incredible quarterbacks throughout the years.
For sure. All right, guys, so we do have a little bit of extra time, so we're going to be a little improv here. But you guys know it is Halloween, so we don't have a graphic or anything, but I do want to throw some teams out there for Craig, and we're going to play a little bit of trick or treat. All right, so I'm going to throw out a team out there, and I'm going to ask Craig, trick or treat. Treat means that, yes, they're going to be a team when it's there, said and done. They're going to make a nice run in the playoffs to the semifinals. Trick is like, they're kind of frosty. They might not get there. All right? So first team, Sandy Creek. Trick or treat?
Man, I'm going to go with trick. They had that tough loss to Mary Persons.
Okay.
That was not good. And I just think when you look at 3A this year, it has been the most unpredictable classification, so I just feel like another team will probably emerge and step up.
Interesting. I'm going to say treat. I think they're going to be there when it's said and done. I think that loss woke them up. I think they're going to be very good in 3A. I think them and Peach County and Jefferson, I'll throw Jefferson in there. I think those are going to be the teams to watch out for in that one. All right, another good one. They beat Rome this year, Craig.
Okay.
All right. Now, a lot of people had them. One of the biggest upsets I would say we had this season. Toombs County. Got Savannah Christian. We'll talk more about the matchup later. Trick or treat for Toombs County?
I'm going to go with treat.
Okay.
I think after that Rome game, we were kind of questioning how good is Rome this year. It was their first game of the season. I think if they played now, it might be a different outcome. But all the takeaways from that game from the coaches and just high school experts that watched that game, they said this team can really pass the ball. So that's something in Class A Division I, a lot of teams are going to be running the ball. They're going to try to be physical, but when you have the ability to also air it out, win those matchups, it makes them multidimensional offensively and I think it's a special team. That Rome win should not go unaccounted for.
I agree. I'm right with Craig. I go Treat as well. All right, we got another good one, Craig. I want to ask you about this team specifically. North Cobb. I was thinking about Grayson, but I'm doing North Cobb. North Cobb. That's the rival for Walton. Trick or treat this season for the Warriors?
I'm going with treat. It's all going to depend on this, how this bracket plays out. But here's the thing about North Cobb. Last year, they were absolutely ravaged by injuries. The year before that, they lost a playoff game where I felt like they should have. They had the last-second loss to Robbie Roper before that. They've had some tough breaks. This year, though, they're healthy. Nick Grimstead, he's elevated his game at the quarterback position. You look at their last win over Etowah, completely shutting them out. So the defense is getting it done, and they have a lot of skilled players that can win their matchups. I think if they go into the playoffs and have a big win over a top 10 team, that's going to release the signal that this team's legit, they're for real. And then I think they can make a run to the semifinals. I don't know if they're going to beat a Buford or a Carrollton, but certainly I think this is the year that they break through and at least get to the quarters or semis.
All right, we got time for one more, Craig. I really want your opinion on this. You seen them last week. You're the only one to pick them. Trick or treat the Perry Panthers, defending state champion?
I'm going to go with treat. I think they have won the toughest region in the entire Class 4A. They went to Benedictine, had a huge win down there. They put up 80 points on New Hampstead. I feel like the only thing that's hurt them this year is some special teams miscues. Other than that, they can come back, they can answer. And Coach Smith does such a good job, no matter what happens the play before, refocusing his team and getting the play that's going to keep them back in it.
For sure. I'm going to go treat as well. I think with Ahmad Gordon, DeCorian Daniels, and all that they got offensive, the quarterback having a great year, Corey Pettigrew on the outside, good defense, they're going to be a team to watch. But that's all for this segment. Coming up, we will have an interview with Greg Vandagriff of Prince Avenue Christian. So stay right here on Peachtree Sports Network. Appreciate it. Sure. Hey, Coach, can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right. So we're in break right now, about a couple more minutes, and we'll be back with you, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. Transform your future today. And by Smart Local 85. Sheet metal is a smart move.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Najee Wilkins along with Craig Sager. So we're going to be joined by head coach of Prince Avenue Christian, a phenomenal private school program out in the Bogart, Athens area. Talk a little bit about the Wolverines. So head coach Greg Vandagriff, we're going to go ahead and bring him on.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, Coach? How's everything?
It's all good. How about you guys?
Doing good. Appreciate you asking, Coach. Well, real quick before we get into the interview, you got any plans for tonight?
No, man. All my kids. This is empty house, empty nesting now. So I've got, my youngest plays left field for Alabama softball. My middle one plays right side for Eastern Kentucky, and then Brock plays quarterback at Kentucky.
Got you. Yes, sir. So, Coach, I want to ask you a little bit. We've seen what this team has kind of gone through as far as the gauntlet of a schedule, right? You've played West Side. You guys have played, BT, Mallard Creek, several very formidable opponents. How do you feel like that's helped you guys for, going into this kind of a matchup and help prepare you just going against that type of competition?
Well, all three of those teams are as good as anybody in single A or double A that we'll play, in the playoffs. So, we're winning all those games and just came up a little bit short with the schools that had a couple thousand. So, we feel like we're battle tested for anybody or anything that comes in the next 6 weeks.
For sure. What's just your overall impression so far, on the season, Coach, with your team?
Well, we tried to break it into sort of like the NFL model, how they go sort of 4-4 with the 16, now 17 game schedule. So we tried to say, look, we're going to play 3 5-game seasons. We're going to play the non-region, which will be brutal. Hang on, it's going to be all you can handle. Our goal was to be 3-2. We ended up 2-3 in that. Not that you don't want to be 5-0, but you also want to set realistic expectations because those non-region games didn't define us. It's the region that sets you up for the playoffs. It's the next measuring stick, and so we're 4-0 so far. Obviously, with a big game tomorrow night, and then we'll roll into the playoffs trying to go 5-0.
For sure. And before I throw it to Craig, Coach, I want to ask you a little about the quarterback situation, right? Ben Muser and obviously Bobo. What's just your thoughts on their play? I know you've been allowing both of them to play, but just what's your thoughts on them and how they've been performing this season?
Well, what happened early in the season, most people, ourselves included, don't like, the old belief if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. And it's a thing where Ben had won the job and, played really well against West Forsyth. I think he rushed for about 190 yards and threw for, 150 or something. And, had a really good first game. And then we bite off a couple people with Mallard Creek and BT. And, there were just times he was a little overwhelmed as a first-year starter, as a sophomore. And so we went into week 4 just with the fact that we just wanted to rotate just to give the sophomore a chance to catch his breath sometimes. Sometimes when you're on the sideline, you can look out there and see, okay, they're running this, and you can watch the other guy operate. And I'm not saying it's the best process. All I know is since we've done that, we've averaged over 40-something points. So we're going to say we're staying with it.
Right, and Coach, you made that decision week 4. You were talking about Ben a little bit. We saw him week 1. I thought his conditioning, his effort, the way he closed that game out was really impressive. But what did you mean when you said that it's allowed them to maybe relax more? Is that something that translates over to practice as well, just being able to have both the guys sharing the reps?
Well, it's one of those things where you can't necessarily put a pulse on it or, point to one thing, but for whatever reason, both guys have played better when all the weight of the world wasn't on them. Does that make sense, And I think Ben came into a program that's played for 4 straight state championships and maybe feeling a little bit of pressure of, hey, I'm coming behind Brock, I'm coming behind Philo. Here's 2 guys that are playing at the next level and doing a pretty good job. And, I feel like I got to do all these kind of things. And we're trying to get him understand you don't have to do everything. You just got to operate the offense and sort of be like a point guard, get it to the guy that needs the ball on this play. And anyway, it just relaxed him a little bit. And so for us and for what's happened right now, it's allowed us to take advantage of both of them, which both of them run well and both of them throw well. And again, if one guy's on, we don't have to, necessarily take him off or that kind of deal. So
and then you'll be going up against Coach Guest. You guys squared off a lot when he was back at ELCA. They took the first 5 matchups head-to-head. You guys had that big win in the quarters in 2020, 38-0. Now he's at Hebron. So talk about what it's been like going up against Coach Guest over the years and maybe some of the memories from that.
All right, so I want to back up a little bit just to correct that record. The record is against Prince, not against me. And so as the D coordinator at Woodward, we blanked them twice when I was the D coordinator. So my record against Coach Guest is 3-2 as a coach. We beat them once at Prince and lost twice. And one of the losses was 62-57 in the 3rd highest scoring game in playoff history. You know, they had Keaton Mitchell. We didn't have anybody near Keaton Mitchell. He ran around and did whatever he wanted, and we tried to tag him, you know, in that game. But nonetheless, he's done a great job. He dipped into the high school portal and reversed that whole roster over there. There's probably 40 kids on that team that's never seen Hebron himself the last year or two. So anyway, it's interesting.
And then this would be your 5th region title in a row. How important is that? I know with the new playoff systems, but just what's the pride like when you guys are able to clinch a region title?
Well, the biggest thing about region titles, it sets you up for the playoffs. You know, other than that, it's just, you know, feather in the cap. But it's a thing where the power rankings, I couldn't even tell you how it works. I got no idea. I don't even try to look at it. It's such a cluster. I mean, they tell us if you play out of state, it doesn't count for you, but it counts. But then they tell us it counts against you, which we didn't know that going in, or we wouldn't have played the #1 team in the state of South Carolina or the #4 team in the state of South Carolina or state of North Carolina. So, you know, the power rankings, what's going to happen is one of us is going to not win that game, and we're going to fall to 8, 9, or 10, and whoever that team is going to not want to get a hold of either one of us the next week because they're going to have a really good year and they're going to get a hold of a 2 or 3 best team in the state, you know. And so, honestly, that thing ought to probably get looked at next year on the power ranking just to balance out the best teams not catching each other in the 2nd, 3rd round.
For sure, Coach. And then I want to ask you just about some of the underrated players, like a lot of people don't know about, but Thornton Hester, your tight end's having a good year for you. On the defensive side of the ball, Kyler Giddens has 80 tackles, 2nd on the team. Talk about them, and also I think Mac Bradley's another one. These guys that don't get talked about a lot when you think about Prince Ave, but they're having great years for you.
Kyler Giddens, arguably the best player on our field on defense. I mean, the kid's all over the field. Does a great job, and we got a Mike linebacker that's an old school 80s throwback kind of kid, sort of a little bit long hair, needs a white neck roll, and he'd fit right into the Bosworth era. But Mac Bradley's coming downhill, and because he's so physically dominating, you tend not to look at Kyler, and Kyler's the kid that's making 10, 12, 14 tackles a game. So Kyler's done a great job. Thornton Hester, 2nd-year starter, does a wonderful job. We have really 2 or 3 big body kids. Another kid's a kid named Bryce Williamson, and then CJ Dockery are 3 kids. They're all pretty big size receiver type kids, and that can body up kids and give a mismatch. And so for us, the run game, having 4 starting offensive linemen off of last year's state championship team, you know, those guys coming back have allowed us really to match up with anybody we played with. You know, I mean, if you look at the West Side game, the #1 team in South Carolina, the score's 42-41 with 5 minutes left in the game, and we go for 2, you know, to try to get up on them. And so it's a thing where we just become a different team this year because our linemen are dominating.
For sure, Coach. I want to say thank you so much for coming on and talking a little about your Wolverines, all the time that we have, and good luck this Friday night. We can't wait to see this thrilling contest tomorrow night.
Appreciate it. Have a great night. Trick or treat.
Trick or treat. All right, there goes Coach Vandagriff right there. Appreciate him coming on the show. Coming up, we will have our composite rankings, and we'll talk a little bit about some of these top teams and their classifications. So come right back on Peachtree Sports Network, talk about some of the composite rankings.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting six figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back, we're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
The Mechanical Trades Institute is an opportunity towards personal financial freedom through hands-on and rewarding work. Our school is completely free and gives apprentices the knowledge and skills required to gain access to a lifelong career path. Apprentices learn pipe fitting, plumbing, mechanical service, and welding. They earn money as they learn and graduate with no student debt. Start a career with the Mechanical Trades Institute and change your financial future.
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of the battle? Will you still train like a champion in pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrician. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. So we're going to get into our composite rankings. Craig, before we get into that, though, you looked at the list. Is there anything that surprised you from what you've seen from across all the rankings before we get into it? Any team?
Not too much. I think 5A is probably the most interesting with the Woodward win over Decatur. But I think the question this week in 5A is, how much is Lee County going to want to go out there and try to get a win when they already have the region wrapped up? They're going to be playing Houston County. I mean, I would probably rest up for the playoffs. We covered the Lee County-Houston County game last year. Lee County won. It was a great matchup, but now and then the other thing you have to think about, Houston County already has the number 4 seed locked up. Number 2 and 3 is going to be decided by Coffee and Thomas County Central, so neither team can change their position, so I don't know how much that would impact the rankings based on a result where the game's kind of already looking forward to the playoffs.
Good point, Craig. Well, without further ado, go ahead and get right into it. For 6A, at number 1, you got Carrollton. Buford 2, 3 North Gwinnett, 4 Douglas County. Number 1 versus number 4 will be this weekend. Will be a good one. We'll have our statewide selections tomorrow. 5 Grayson, 6 Collins Hill, 7 North Cobb, 8 Mill Creek, 9 Lowndes, 10 Colquitt County, and 11 Valdosta.
Mill Creek, is this the week they play Buford? Is that right?
I believe you're correct.
Yeah, so you have another top 10 matchup. That should be an interesting one. To me, it's all about Carrollton, Douglas County. Douglas County, when they went head-to-head with Buford, I thought they matched them athletically. The thing that killed them in that game was the turnovers. If they can protect the football, get off to a hot start, I think athletically they have the talent to match up with Buford and also Carrollton, but it's going to be about protecting the football.
Good point, Craig. All right, let's go to 5A. So here you're going to have Milton at the top, followed by Lee County, Thomas County Central, Hughes, Coffee, Roswell at 6, Gainesville 7, 8 Rome, 9 Houston County, 10 Brunswick, 11 Decatur, 12 Woodward Academy, and in 13 Spraberry. Woodward Academy getting a couple votes in Maxwell and also AJC. And then you also seeing, I like that Gainesville is still considered a top 10 team. I mean, a close loss. I like Kareem Hughley a lot. I had my hot take a couple of days ago talking about him and the star that he is. But I think it's going to be interesting. Like you said, Coffee Thomas County Central is a good one this week, top 10 matchup. And does Lee County play all their starters, against Houston County? And obviously Milton and Roswell is going to be another one to watch for, who kind of comes out and out with another top 10 matchup to decide the region.
Yeah, this is going to really show us how good is Milton. Obviously, they've played top 10 teams all year long, but this is a rivalry game. They play every single season. This kind of determines how successful the season is. So if Milton goes out there and shuts down Roswell's offense and gets a big win, I think it's going to be very interesting. They'll be the clear favorite. But then what Lee County has done this season, coming out of that region, having the highest scoring offense in the state, just that is so impressive. And I think if they were to play Houston County in any situation unlike this one where it's already wrapped up, I think we would see them handle business.
For sure. All right, guys, let's go ahead and go to 4A now. At the top is Marist at 9-0, North Oconee trailing them at number 2. 3 Blessed Trinity, 4 Cartersville, 5 Eastside, 6 Perry, 7 Cedartown, 8 Stars Mill, 9 Creekside, 10 Ware County, 11 Benedictine, 12 Warner Robins, 13 Stockbridge, and 14 Kell. Stockbridge a little low to be 8-1, you think?
Yes, they are. They already have that region wrapped up too. I think they're a top 10 team. What you saw with North Oconee, this was the first week where it wasn't just our poll. The Max Preps poll has North Oconee number 1. So I think that's huge. With Marist, they've been so dominant. I don't think their region has been that challenging for them. They have just been rolling. No one has really been able to step up and give them a challenge. So I think another team, BT, you saw them move up a little bit this week. I put them up to number 3. I just think when you look at their season, their only loss was to Milton, and it was a pretty close game. I think they're very dangerous in Class 4A the way that defense has been playing.
And then real quick on Marist before we go to 3A. Are you concerned because they might match up potentially with the Warner Robins as that 4 seed potentially at home? Obviously, Marist is a good physical team, but it's a matchup potentially like that kind of worry you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the key to Marist is just you have to know how to line up against that offense. The triple option, it's so difficult because they're just going to eat the clock. They're going to play field position well. It's so hard to get them off the field, and it's just going to come down to a defense. It's not about how talented you are. You have to understand the assignments. You have to play disciplined. You can't let them get outside, which is what they want to do. And so one of the teams that actually was able to stop Marist, it was in the scrimmage before the season started, it was BT. They didn't allow Marist to get a single first down. Yeah, it was a scrimmage, but the way they did that is because they had DJ Jacobs was able to completely close off the outside. So once you funneled them inside and they couldn't get outside with the pitch, you were able to stop them. But if you don't have an elite, disciplined edge rusher, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, and you probably won't get off the field.
For sure. All right, let's go to 3A at number 1. I'm sure we have a new number 1. Peach County, 8-1, won a region championship. Number 2, Jefferson. 3, Sandy Creek. Like to see them there, even though they lost to Mary Persons. Still think they're a top 10 contender, in my humble opinion, in that classification. 4, Douglas. 5, LaGrange. Obviously, Malachi Rennerfin just committed to Liberty. Congrats to him. We talked about that in their headlines. 6, Cherokee Bluff. 7, Westover. 8, Calhoun. 9, Oconee County. 10, Cairo. 11, Northwest Whitfield. 12, Stevenson. Got that great edge rusher with KJ Green. 13, North Hall. 14, Jenkins. And 15, Long County. Long County has suffered 2 back-to-back losses. I think what's interesting here, Craig, how for real is Peach County? I really like their program. I'm trying to get Coach Marquise Westbrook on here soon. They're really good with the quarterback, DJ Hudson. Has some really good playmakers on the outside. And then Jefferson beating Cherokee Bluff. We wanted to see how for real Cherokee Bluff would be. Jefferson kind of showed there is levels a little bit. I think it's going to be interesting to see what Cherokee Bluff can do come playoff time.
Yep, I think in that Jefferson Cherokee Bluff game, it showed that Jefferson has that physical edge. Cherokee Bluff actually matched the physicality of Oconee County. They dominated that matchup. Now you're going to see Oconee County play Jefferson. I think they should win that one and clinch the region. But other than that, in Class 3A, do you think LaGrange is probably one of the more dangerous teams? I know Calhoun's playing well right now, but when you look at LaGrange and kind of the improvement throughout the season, I think that's a team where you can clearly see them moving in a positive direction.
For sure. I think they're kind of going to be one of those dark horse candidates. Like, a lot of people are not going to talk about them come playoffs, but that could be a team you see make the semis potentially or make a deep run in the playoffs. But what they could do with Malachi Renderfan and defense plays good collectively, and then they can throw it over top two with the quarterback. I think that's going to be a dangerous team to watch for.
Yeah, and even last year they were making noise in 4A with a region that had Stars Mill. So, I mean, now they're in 3A. It's still very challenging, but I just think what they've been able to do the last few years, now in this new classification, I definitely think they are that top 5 team that can make a run to the semis.
For sure. All right, let's go to 2A now. Pierce County, Morgan County, very impressive team. Carver Columbus, Burke County, Callaway, Appleton County, Carver Atlanta, Hapeville Charter, Rockmart, Thompson, Sumter County, Stevens County, and Hart County. Craig, what stands out here?
All right, so Hapeville and Carver Atlanta, I would say they're the 2 hottest teams in the top 10 right now. Carver Columbus, they've been steady all year long, dominating. You saw their defensive statistics, best overall defense. I think this week, though, you're going to have Pierce County at number 1 against number 6 Appleton County. I am putting Pierce County on upset alert. I think Appleton County is the real deal. You see, I have them all the way at number 4. They've been very impressive this year. Those 2 losses came to top competition. I think it's a game that Appleton County can go out and win.
All right, let's go to the Class A Division I now. At number 1, you're going to have Toombs County, Dublin, Thomasville, Fannin County, Northeast Fitzgerald, Worth County, Dodge County, Commerce, and Hearn County. I'll be quick on this one. Dublin is going to play Dodge County. It'll be an interesting game between those two teams. Toombs County is going to play Savannah Christian, another interesting matchup as well. All right, Class A Division II, Manchester, Brooks County, Bowden, Clinch County, Irwin County, Lincoln County, Greene County, Treon, Metter, and then Early County. This one also very interesting. Some good matchups here. Craig, I'm going to let you take it away with Class A, 3A private.
And then Class A, the private, if you see that poll real quick, Whitfield Academy is back in it. Lovett has slid significantly. Wesleyan had a really tough loss. I think Fellowship Christian has been the team that has really made noise these last few weeks, and then you can't count out Athens Academy. They already wrapped up that perfect season. And then Savannah Christian, the big test, are going to be against Toombs County this week.
Certainly, and like I said, our game, the 2 versus the 3, right here on Peachtree Sports Network at 8 p.m., 8:07 kickoff. Don't want to miss it. We'll be right back with more of the South Georgia Spotlight. All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Najee Wilkins along with Craig Sager. So we're going to do our South Georgia Spotlight now, highlight some of these top matchups and get a little in-depth analysis between me and Craig. So, Craig, really good matchups. I think that Dublin-Dodge County one, which we kind of alluded to in our composite rankings, is very intriguing. 2 really good teams. Dodge County's coming off that big loss, 40-19 last week. I think my biggest question is, how are they going to respond? How do you respond to a game like that? Losing to Northeast Macon, you highlighted, obviously, Nicholas Wilford in an underrated and overlooked. They just pretty much ran the ball. They ran the ball a lot, and they just overpowered it. But what are your thoughts?
Well, this is a scary game for Dodge County because this Dublin defense is the real deal. We saw what Northeast did to Dodge County last week. Well, when Dublin played Northeast, they completely shut them down, 17-7 victory. So this defense is legit. They've had a ton of shutouts, a great Ace Charter team, a 48-3 victory. I think Dublin's defense is going to win this matchup, and that's why they've been elite. They are 9-0. This is a 10-team region, so they've been in region play since week 2. The last time Dublin had a perfect season, 2019, they ended up winning the state title. So this is the real deal with Dublin this year. I think the question is going to be defensively, and then can Dodge County keep pace with them and put some points on the board? I think it's going to be tough to do.
I agree with you, and I do want to point out a couple stats here really quick. So a lot of good rushers for Dublin. Listen to this, guys. So starting with Willie Batts, right? He has 864 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns. Xavier Bostic has 822 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns. The stat I want you guys to hear, they have 4 rushers this season with over 400 yards, all right? That includes Bostic, that includes Batts. They also have Trevion Bostic and Makai O'Neal. So when I think of Dublin, obviously you talked about their great defense, but it's like, okay, so the defense is getting turnovers and stops, then they're going to just run the ball on you. This is also another predominantly run team. So I feel like they're going to do the same thing that, Northeast Macon did last week. They got guys that can keep them fresh, and they're just going to come and play smash mouth football all game long. So I give the edge to Dublin just off that. I know Jeremiah Burns is having a good season so far for Dodge County. I know they got Daryl Duke Johnson as well, so having a great season on both sides of the ball, 90 tackles, over nearly 1,000 yards rushing. But I think the key is going to be those really good running backs for them and how they keep them fresh.
That's right. And then we saw Northeast Macon at Media Day down in Macon. That is a big team. They have, it's not just Woodward in the backfield. They have tall receivers. Yep. So that's a balanced attack. Dublin was able to shut them down. I think Dublin can also win in a variety of ways, whether they're keeping their backfield fresh or they're in a defensive struggle and just eating the clock away with the run game. I think they can do it in a variety of ways. I just think defensively, Dublin is the real deal, and that's going to be the key to the game.
For sure. All right, let's go to our next one. Savannah Christian versus Toombs County. Another pretty elite matchup, Craig. I mean, you got obviously Savannah Christian in Class A to 3A private. You got Toombs County, who's in Class A Division I. So just what is your thoughts on this matchup, Craig? What are your keys in this one?
For Savannah Christian, it's that offense. Zoe Smalls, he's going to lead that backfield, but they're probably averaging like 280, 290 rushing yards per game. Toombs County, same sort of deal. They're at 265 rushing yards per game, but they have, I think, a more balanced offense. They're able to pass the ball if they need to, where Savannah Christian, they're just going to want to run it right down your throat. It's going to be hard to run the ball against Savannah Christian with that elite defensive line, probably one of the best in the entire state. So I think the key, Toombs County is going to have to be able to connect on the deep ball, put some pressure on that Savannah Christian defense to relieve the pressure valve up front, and then you're going to have to find a way to stop the run or at least force Savannah Christian into passing situations.
I agree with Craig. I think Davin Wally is going to be one to watch for in this one for, obviously, Toombs County, nearly 800 yards rushing this year. Lagonze Hayward on the outside, that's what Craig was alluding to. Can you win? If you can't run the ball, can you win with your athletes on the outside and get the ball to the playmakers? I feel like they can do that in this one. They have already been battle tested playing a Rome team who's having a great year, won another region championship. But the key is, can you block those 2 elite pass rushers? Can you block the Georgia commit, Elijah Griffin? Can you block the #1 player in the country according to On 3 Sports in LaDamian Guyton? So it's going to be tough, but I think Toombs County is battle tested this year. They have played a pretty strenuous schedule. I think they're going to be ready in that one. So slight edge to them, but Savannah Christian is an elite team as well. All right, let's go to our next one. Coffee versus Thomas County Central, Craig. We've been talking about this one just a little bit, but what are your thoughts on this one? I mean, Coffee can run at what Tyrese will get, who's having a really good year. Thomas County Central can score in bunches. Their quarterback's having a pretty good year. What's the keys in this one for you, Craig?
Well, I say it a lot about Coffee. They make you one-dimensional. They have man coverage on the outside, and so if you can't win your matchups, if your receivers can't get open, you can't pass in tight windows, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. What did Coffee do to Houston County, a team that is more pass-oriented? They shut them out 14-0. Lee County had a big day against them, but that was because Lee County was able to establish the run. We saw what Chroma did to them with those highlight reels. So I think Thomas County Central, they don't have that ability to pass as well as a Houston County or a Lee County. I think Coffee's going to force them to try to pass the ball. And I think it will be a low-scoring, hard-fought, close game. But I think It's a big opportunity because this is for the number 2 seed. This is an opportunity for these South Georgia schools to not have to travel in that first round.
For sure. It's going to be crucial. All right, guys, so going to be on that one. We got one more good one. Wintersville Classic, Craig. I got to do this one with a little bit more oomph. Valdosta and Lowndes. This is must-see TV, man. I mean, this is going to be such an incredible matchup. These teams always play for pride, Craig, always play for, big things, but it doesn't get much bigger than that Region 1 6A title. You get to host the playoff game, get to probably host all the way up into potentially the semifinals if you continue to win. My question, Craig, is what's the health of a Todd Robinson, right? Played last week, played good. Was on our Mr. Georgia watch list this week. What's his health? They're going to need him. Can they get the ball to the playmakers on the outside? Ricky Jean, Eli Lewis. Can they run it with Deron Foster? Can they run it also with their other running back as well? And can they slow down Valdosta, Aleem Brown, and Marvis Parrish, who's having really good years?
That's right. Yeah, can Valdosta get its pace back up offensively? And I think this is a make-or-break game for Todd Robinson. He comes out and wins this. He's going to propel in that Mr. Georgia watch list, top list.
All right, there you have it, guys. So that is our South Georgia Spotlight. Some great matchups. We'll have all the coverage here. Tomorrow will be a stellar show. We're going to have our statewide selections. We're going to go a little more in depth tomorrow. We're going to look at some more matchups, so it should be a lot of fun. We're going to have our fast break headlines, and we should have on the home coach, Jonathan Guest, tomorrow. So stay tuned. Come back tomorrow right here at noon till 1 on Georgia High School Sports Daily. We'll see you guys soon. And also, happy Halloween.
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Beginning the morning you opened your eyes, we spent every waking moment preparing you for the day you'd leave our nest. Whether it's driving to practice or helping with homework, it's all prepared you for what am I going to be when I grow up? Will you be ready?
After much thought, I made my decision to take my talents to the IBEW Local 613.
Are we seeing anything? The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers is not simply a job, it's a career. Visit IBEW613.org to begin a new future today.
Are you interested in becoming a deputy or a jailer? The Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office is hiring and looking for individuals passionate about protecting and serving their community. If you are 18 years or older, join our team by visiting gogcso.com for more information. Gwinnett County, together we can make a difference.
Basic combat training.